Right, the 2017 Toyota Landcruiser 70 series has just been launched in Australia, and I am not going to show you it because I'm here in England, and the 70 series of course it's not sold in England. It's never been sold in England. So why am I going to tell you about this thing? Well, I found on the internet a very nice article by a chap called Mike Costello, and he obviously went to the press launch in Australia, in Melbourne, and they released the new vehicle. Lots of, I think, significant changes, but I say that because I'm familiar with the 70 series Landcruiser. I know, in fact, the writer here admits that he's not familiar with the vehicle, so that his review is only on the surface, and he's absolutely right. And I actually think he did a very good job considering that. But now, knowing the 70 series intimately, what have they done to it? Now, the first thing I look at when I look at it is I see that they have changed the bonnet. Well, why have they changed the bonnet? The press releases will say, top line is that in fact that they've changed the safety features. It's now ANCAP 5. The engine is still Euro 5, the diesel engine. The diesel engine is the only engine that is put into the 70 Landcruisers in Australia. So they've upgraded the safety. How have they done that? Extra airbags. Instead of 2, it now has 4. Is it 5? More airbags. But only in the pickup version, not in the troop carrier, and not in lovely vehicles such as this, the double cab. You would think it's more of a family carrier. Surely they would have. Well, the reason is cost. Now, I know for a fact that it costs a great deal of money to get a vehicle to pass certain tests and release a new vehicle into a market. And as far as I can tell, these changes are only going to be made for Australian spec Landcruisers. Why is that? Well, the 70 series is sold in large numbers in Australia, but Australia is not its biggest market. But the thing is that Australia is more demanding. It's more demanding on safety, particularly with the mines. Most of these vehicles are sold to mines, agriculture, business, not to individual owners. That's a small percentage of the market share. And the mines and those people want safety, 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 so they're pushing for safety. As lovely as the pickup is, it's not terribly practical for an overland. Well, it is a bit, but it's not the ideal mount, and you'll find that most people using it for overland landing, like I do, they will actually go for the troop carrier or they'll go for the station wagon, which doesn't share the same safety qualifications. It's a matter of money. So what they've done is that they've developed, tested, and passed with the pickup only. Some of those safety features will bleed into the other models. And let's have a look at the models. If we say it's just safety, it's just about safety, that's the main product launch. So while the headline is new safety features, particularly in Australia, the engine is the 4.5 litre V8. Now, they've uprated not its power, not even its torque, but its efficiency by changing some of the parameters obviously in the engine management system, because they fitted new injectors, more efficient injectors. So very similar output, quite a bit better fuel consumption. They're talking 1.2 litres per 100 kilometres reduction in fuel usage. That's quite good for something that is just, under the skin, not really noticed. They've added a depopulate on the door. You can see the layout of the door is exactly the same it has been for 900 years. They haven't changed it. But there's a little warning sticker here. This vehicle is a diesel particulate filter system. That's going to improve its carbon emissions. I suppose we all should welcome that. That's, again, under the skin, you're paying a little bit more for it. One of the big questions is, will all of these niceties drift over into other markets, into Asia, into Africa? Well, my guess is they will filter through. And the reason for that is that there have been, as far as I could read from the articles, very few demands from Africa and Asia. Please make it more efficient, please, because most of the vehicles sold in those countries anyway are still the old 1HZ normally aspirated diesel engine, the old tractor engine, unbreakable, not very sophisticated, quite a dirty engine, doesn't comply with modern emissions standards. So they're not that interested in the extra safety. So my guess is that the components of this vehicle will drift into those markets as time goes by, because it's going to probably be more efficient. The most noticeable change of all can be seen there reasonably clearly, there a little more clearly, not that clearly, but there is a shot here that gives it, well, can you see what I'm talking about? The bonnet. They've changed the shape of the bonnet. What have they done? They've actually lifted it up. They've made it higher. Why would they have done that? It's the same engine, it's the same intercooling system. Why would they have made the engine bonnet cover taller? It's quite stylish. It actually looks quite, yeah, I don't know, I think it gives it a good look. This reviewer complained that it obscures visibility out of the front because it's so high. Why would they have done that? That's not cheap. Now, I have a little bit of knowledge on how much it costs a vehicle. I'll give you an example. In the United States of America, I'm not sure how many years ago, they introduced the four-wheel drive Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. It cost, I was told, $6 million to homologate that vehicle for the United States and actually be able to sell it. That is an enormous amount of money. So every change here, particularly with these safety elements, had to be checked, verified, signed off. That's money, big money. And to make a new bonnet for this vehicle must have cost a small fortune. Why did they do it? They must have done it for safety or engine efficiency. Maybe they found the intercooler, it doesn't increase power. The power ratings of the engine is exactly the same. So if you're increasing the efficiency of the intercooler, you're going to get a little bit more power. They're not claiming any extra power. So why have they changed the bonnet and spent so much money on this change? My guess is it's part of the safety. And this is what I'm talking about when I say I believe these safety features will trickle through to other markets. Why not? If they're making the bonnet, they've got the tooling, it will trickle through. But quickly, no, I don't think so. A significant improvement, as far as I can see, to the Australian range is that is an automatic freewheel locking hub. The 70 Series Landcruiser is a part-time four-wheel drive vehicle, and you need to get out and lock the hubs to engage four-wheel drive. You don't need to do that with the auto-locking hub. You can just simply do it from inside the cab and they automatically unlock. That has been standard in the South African versions. For some reason the South African versions are higher spec. They don't have a workmate equivalent. They're all GXL spec. Plus they've got other stuff too. For example, the automatic freewheel hubs. That is now standard on, I think, from what I can see, all of the 2017 model Land Cruisers in Australia. Here's an interesting thing that I did notice though. Now these vehicles, the troop carrier in in Australia there are two forms, the GXL and what they call the workmate for all three of the models. Let me just quickly go through the models. This is the troop carrier. This is the single cab pickup. This is the dual cab pickup. And of course there is the shortest wheelbase of all, which is this one here, which is the station wagon. These are three different wheelbases. Not everybody knows that. That's the smallest one. Trooper is a bit bigger by about 400 millimeters and about another 250, 300 millimeters. I don't have the exact specs in my head. The long wheelbase, single and dual cab. So three different wheelbases and two different specifications. Now if you look closely at this, this is my favorite of all of them, actually, is I love the troop carrier, because as an overland vehicle it is as versatile a vehicle as is made on this planet. Now, just last week I was on Facebook and I was looking for a particular wheel rim that was imported by somebody in South Africa. They were building a troop carrier, beautiful troopy, and they had chosen these rims and they had bought them in the United States at great expense, I was told, and they had painted them a deep greyish blue, and they looked fantastic steel. So I went typing on thing, can you find, I went onto the Landcruiser, the Bush Taxi forum, and I got, yeah, this is it. Some people thought they were American rims from the Sequoia, some said that they were from the American FJ Cruiser. Those are all 6 stud. These vehicles, 5 stud. Okay, so eventually I found it. Guess what? There it is on the new 2017 Toyota Landcruiser. It's the rim. It's the same rim. 5 stud, 16 hole. Now that's the rim I was looking for. Now that to me is a huge improvement, because every workmate version of all of these 3 models came out with horrible rims. Horrible, the same ones as still standard in most vehicles sold in Asia and most vehicles sold in Africa. The grey split rim, quite narrow. I think they're only 6 inches wide. And they're horrible rims. You can't put much of a wider tyre on it. And I don't like split rims. I know that they have their advantages. I don't like them. Okay, there they are. It's not a great looking rim, but it's a nice looking rim, and it's wide enough to carry a wider range of tyres. So that's a big improvement. What have they done with the interior? Now, this is actually I would say it's significant. Those of you who know the Cruiser 70 will be familiar with this. One gets used to one's vehicle and you start loving the good bits and putting up with the bad bits, and that's normal for any vehicle. I love this dashboard, and I look at it like this and I think, why? Why do I love it? It's very bland, but it's functional. Good ventilation, very good ventilation. They changed this in 2010, it might have been late 2009, to the new dashboard. And they did it because of safety. The old dashboard was mostly steel, it would not cope with heavy impacts, and so they had to redesign it, and I think they did a very good job. But now, reading the article, interior is basic, but the plastics are tough and timeless. You can have the GLX variant with electric windows, cloth seats, with a base mate, with winding windows, and okay. Actually, this is where your lack of understanding and having lived with the 70 series is obvious. That dashboard, those plastics are not tough, they mark easily, they scratch easily, and after not a very long time they start looking a little bit tatty. It's a drawback of the dashboard. I don't think the plastics are particularly well suited for purpose. It's a very functional dashboard. Ergonomically, amazingly good actually, really quite good, although the heater controls are extremely old-fashioned. Ergonomically, it's actually very, very good. And a nice steering wheel. To me, any dashboard, if it can be ruined by a bad steering wheel, it's a nice steering wheel. It's good to look at, it feels good, it's a nice steering wheel, and it's a nice place to be. They've changed the seats. Thank goodness they've changed the seats, because the standard seats were, you know, I've just done a trip now in a Landcruiser. It had the GXL spec seats, which are cloth, they're very basic, and I did a whole trip through Namibia for 2.5 weeks, and it was a stock dual cab with a 1.8 engine in it. The seats were fine. Maybe I'm used to them. My troop carrier had seats were, you know, they're okay. They're regarded as okay. I'm okay with them. I'm all right with them. But actually, thank goodness that they have changed them. These now actually look like they might actually be comfortable. The new versions, unlike South Africa, all Landcruiser 70 series come with dual back and front differential locks. In Australia, they don't. It seems, although I'm not 100% sure, that the new versions come with differential locks in the GXL versions as standard, but not in the workmate versions. But here's the thing, you can add for 1,600 Australian dollars differential locks. It's a price for, for two, it's not too bad. If it's charged for just one, double that for two, both, that's expensive. Aircon is not standard in Australia. Despite over 90% of all Land Cruisers in Australia come with this $2,600. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, these vehicles are expensive to start with. Considering what you get, considering the fact that it is really, even the really quite, dare I say it, plush by comparison. I mean, it's not plush, it's so basic. Even the GXL is so basic. You're paying a lot of money. The new versions, in addition to the extra airbags, all of them come with an anti-skid control, some kind of traction control. Not sure exactly what that means. They've said that with the new traction control it no longer needs the rear limited slip diff, which was standard in all of them. So I'm not 100% sure, but I get excited when I see new versions of the 70 series Land Cruiser, and the main reason why I get excited is that there was 2 years ago, I suppose, I was reading that there were threats of dropping it. Toyota would actually drop it. For the overland community, that would be just the end of life as we know it, and I'm not exaggerating. It would be. Well, for me it would be. What else is there? Land Rovers no longer making overland vehicles. Jeep don't really make an overland vehicle. They make some great off-road vehicles, but they don't make an overland vehicle as such. And who else is there? Nissan has stopped making the decent patrol. So the investment here means that they're interested in doing something with this vehicle. I've also heard speculation quite recently that they're talking about taking it to the United States of America. True. This is what I heard from, I don't know how reliable the source was. Yeah, inside Toyota, kind of bouncing on the edges of but certainly he himself with insider information is that they are looking very seriously at taking the 70 series to the United States in 2018. Whether it will look anything like these, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. Did you enjoy that? Then please subscribe. If you'd like to take our relationship to the next level from just $1 a month to support my productions, or if you'd like to download everything I've ever made, go to forexoverland.com.